Hello and welcome to the Cup Experience, our pre-race show covering all the details of the 36th America's Cup. And welcome to day number 3 of the Prada Cup Challenger Selection Series. Hi, I'm Tucker Thompson here in the U.S. and I'm joined by my co-host, America's Cup expert Jack Griffin from cupexperience.com, and he's joining us from Switzerland. Hello, Jack. Let's talk about this event. It has done nothing but deliver surprise after surprise. This thing just keeps us guessing, doesn't it?
Yeah, surprising is the word. I mean, yesterday Ben Ainsley delivered another surprise to us, showing up really strong in the light air.
He may have even surprised himself. And before we get into all that, which we're going to dive deep into tonight, let's first begin with the sponsors. 60, as we always do, 60 seconds to thank the sponsors who make this show possible, beginning with Mount Gay Rum, the Sailor's Rum, and also the official rum of New York Yacht Club's American Magic. Visit mountgayrum.com to learn more about the different rums and go directly to drizzly.com to have it sent right to you. Thank you to C-Deck Adhesive Foam Decking, which will literally transform the deck of your boat. It did for mine, and it has for American Magic as well. Thank you to Axel Nobel All Grip Fast Finishes. American Magic is finished with All Grip Next Generation Top Coat. It's called HDT, and clearly it is fast. We also want to thank Raba and Birking Silver with the special American Magic collection. Cocktail tumblers and bottle coasters, serving trays, and much more, all with the American Magic logo. You can ask Jack for more information and visit americanmagic.cupexperience.com to order some for yourself. And finally, thank you to Polini Coffee. I know Jack is happy with them because they're keeping him awake in Switzerland at this hour. They're the official coffee supplier of New York Yacht Club American Magic with their Polini Top 100% Arabica Espresso. Polini Coffee, keeping American Magic energized. You can find it online at Amazon.com. Thanks once again to all of the sponsors of our Cup Experience show. And Jack, here we go. Yesterday we saw day 2 of the Prada Cup. Now let's start with the good news. A theme that you and I have been talking about these past few days of coverage is the fact that this is really exciting sailing. It keeps us as viewers guessing. It certainly kept the sailors guessing. Yesterday was a bit of a snakes and ladders day, but what it has proved is that the naysayers who thought this new design was just going to have, those that got it right blowing out those that haven't gotten it right, and we would see boring one-sided races. That's not the case at all, has it, Jack?
No way. We see, especially yesterday with the light air sailing, I mean, it's just incredible. It's real sailboat racing. Didn't expect that, but boy, am I happy we're getting it.
Well, and one of my favorite parts is it's relatable. The Modern America's Cup, I think, has gone a bit too far in the direction of technology and left some of the sailors behind. But now we're seeing real sailing, tactics, strategy, boat on boat, and sailing around the course, not just relying on technology to outperform the competition. And it's kept us guessing literally right into the end. Now, the story of day number 1 of the Prada Cup was all about Ineos Team UK. Remember the America's Cup World Series last month in December? An embarrassing event for them. They went into that event and pretty much couldn't get anything done. They couldn't win a race. And now all of a sudden, day number 1 of the Prada Cup, Ineos Team UK wins the first 2 races. Then yesterday, if you thought it was a fluke, it wasn't. They came back and won again. Meanwhile, American Magic, who was on top of the challenger field for the America's Cup World Series, they came into this series, basically the bookies were saying, hey, they're going to be the team to beat. And yet, Jack, they have yet to win a race in this Prada Cup. What is going on there?
Boy, I tell you, I'm sure Terry Hutchinson, Dean Barker would like to know what's going on there too, because they are winless and a puzzle. It's really a puzzle why they're so far off form.
Now, here's a look at the scores. Ineos Team UK has won 3, 0 losses. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli has won 1. And New York Yacht Club American Magic, unfortunately, 0 wins and 3 losses. Now, 2 questions for you, Jack. Number 1, can the Brits keep this going? It's going to be breezy today. And number 2, are we finally going to see American Magic and Patriots conditions? Are they finally going to put a point up on the scoreboard?
Hey, let's see. That's the question. That's the question of the day. Like you said right at the top of the show, every day of racing in these boats brings surprises. Yesterday, we saw the boats floating around in displacement mode. Today, we're going to see them flying around in tough conditions. Going to be a good day.
We certainly hope so. Before we get into today, though, let's look back on highlights from yesterday's racing. This is day 2 of the Prada Cup.
Light winds and patchy conditions took stress levels to a new peak for all of the teams, and the clues were there from the start. Both Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli and American Magic entered the start zone on their foils, but it didn't last for long. With 30 seconds to go, Luna Rossa had got back up to speed, but American Magic hadn't. Leg 2 proved tricky for the leaders as the breeze ran out. As Luna Rossa struggled, the tables were reversed as the Americans took the lead. A new puff saw the lead reversed once again, and while there were ups and downs for the last lap, Luna Rossa held their lead to the finish to put their first win on the board.
We are very, very happy. It's one of those races that you can win or lose very easily. Was really demanding for the boys. It's almost like harder for them in the lighter wind than the stronger wind power-wise. I think it was not so much a matter of little speed edge. Was a matter of staying in the pressure, and I think we did a good job.
Yeah, it's I call that a lottery. Yeah, it was pretty marginal. You know, you question why we want to do that as part of the event, but anyway, it is what it is. So you know, it's going to swing in roundabouts, and yeah, obviously didn't go that well for us in that one.
The tricky conditions continued for the second race of the day, and it was more bad news for American Magic as they were dealt a penalty for entering too early. They splashed down and couldn't get going. Ineos Team UK sailed around them and crossed the start line at speed. In a minute and a half, the British were 500 metres ahead and the distance was growing fast. But once again, this race was a game of snakes and ladders, and while the Americans had their moments, victory went to the British, finishing just 2 minutes inside the time limit. Their third win from 3, Ineos Team UK were on a roll.
It was a tough one, but the guys did a great job handling the boat. Yeah, Giles did a great job trying to find the breeze, what little breeze there was. We managed to muscle it around and get the win, so we'll take it.
From my perspective, there's nothing to turn around. We got to just stay patient, trust in ourselves, trust in our team, which we do, and keep chipping along. There's a lot of meat left on this bone, so we're going to keep fighting.
Well, for those of you that saw it, and Jackie, I know you and I did, it was extremely challenging yesterday, particularly the weather. That was something that these boats are not good in, to be fair. The AC-75s can go 3 to 4 times the wind speed, but when they can't get up on the foils, well, that certainly creates a challenge. And as you heard them talking about chutes and ladders and things being sort of unpredictable and up in the air. The weather yesterday, Jack, we saw everything from 3 knots to 13, and boats that were in displacement mode, not moving at all. The lowest boat speed I saw was 0.06 knots. I've never seen that in the America's Cup. And the fastest speed was over 40 knots. When you've got one boat at 0.06 and one boat at 40, Jack, that's going to create some pretty big deltas, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what we saw also was Luna Rossa came around the windward gate and then had to sail back upwind to try to get back into breeze. Now, we have all been in light wind, frustrating, trying to figure out which way to go, where's the breeze coming from. Tough day.
Definitely. Well, one team, however, Jack, that did not have a tough day was Ineos Team UK. What do you make of that? They were expected to be slow in the light air.
Yeah, they were expected to be slow in the light air, but boy, I'll tell you, they certainly faked everybody out. You know, it's their foils are probably one of the big things that they changed. So, you know, if we take a look at the foils and what they've done on Ineos Team UK, in this shot, you can see their foil is painted red. Okay, easy to tell the difference, but they have changed things. Now they've, you know, in another image, we can see them with the foil painted black, but let me tell you, it's more than just the paint job. They have done a lot of modifications to this foil. It's the same foil, but within the rules, they've modified it. Let's take a look a little bit closer from the side, get a little bit techie here, and look at the cord basically the width of the file and then of the foil and wing, and then the span, those things have been obviously optimized and given them a lot better performance. If we look at the other boats, American Magic has foils that are, basically the same configuration of anhedral, meaning they tilt down, and Luna Rossa the same way. If we look at their foils, one of the things though about Luna Rossa's foils, hard to see in this picture, but they are bigger than the other guys, and that's one of the things that has given them an advantage in the light air. In fact, if we take a look at some of the stats from yesterday and see what Luna Rossa did, they were at 40 knots boat speed in 8 knots of wind. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the number of tacks and jibes they did to stay in the pressure. It was really a game of connecting the dots. And then we can see that poor old American Magic was DNF. They didn't even get around the course within the time limit. So just an incredible time for them. If we look at Luna Rossa a little bit more, they pulled off what they called their Chicago. It was their code word that Jimmy Spithill and Keko Bruni called at the top gate. That after that they did a jibe with both foils in the water. The idea there was, okay, we'll pay the penalty of a little bit more drag from having both foils in the water, but we'll get more lift. The game yesterday was all about staying up on the foils. But you know what? Luna Rossa's setup for light air is really strong, and it's not just their foils. If we take a look at their mainsail, they have really, really deep camber in the mainsail. They also have the boom under the deck, so it's a really clean layout. The mainsail is sealed really tightly to the deck. They can put a lot of camber in it when they need it. And if we look at American Magic, who are on the losing end of things, I can't quite figure out what the configuration is that they're trying to get here, because you can see the boom is above the deck. Okay, fair enough. But then the foot of the mainsail is kind of flopping over the boom. It's not really tightly sealed to the deck. I'm sure they know what they're doing, but boy, I tell you, it didn't do a good job for them yesterday.
I have to agree with you, Jack. I've been talking about American Magic's boom for a while now, and looking at that shot there, the aerodynamic treatment compared to Luna Rossa is pretty obvious. It's a big one. So yesterday, to be fair, was frustrating for the sailors, but I got to be honest, it was kind of exciting as a spectator. Now, granted, the marginal foiling conditions made for some very slow boat speeds, but I think marginal foiling is actually one of the more exciting parts of these. Of watching these boats. Now, I think many might disagree. They want to see fast speeds, 40, 50 knots. But I'll tell you what, it's a challenge for the sailors, and that's what I enjoy watching. Can they connect the dots in the breeze? Can they get up on the foils? When you have a lead change, at one point, American Magic was 500 meters behind Luna Rossa. In one puff, they went to 300 meters ahead, about 400 meters. It was almost a 1,000-meter change in one puff. Some might say, well, that's too much of a discrepancy, and a lot of people would complain maybe they shouldn't have run those races in breeze that was like that. I can understand that, but at least given the cards that they were dealt, it was very entertaining to watch and kept us guessing. Now, that's the good news. Yesterday, boat-on-boat sailing, competition, very exciting to follow. Jack, let's talk about the bad news. American Magic, yesterday, 2 losses. This was their day to put points on the scorecard and reverse the image that we were seeing, and it was quite the opposite. To quote my friend Tom Eamon in his Sailing Illustrated show, whiskey, tango, foxtrot. What in the heck is going on? And that's something I want to dive deeper into, particularly when we look at the starts. And I want to highlight Dean Barker, American Magic's helmsman. And with all due credit to Dean, I've known him for over 21 years. He's an extreme gentleman. He's a great guy. And obviously he knows, experience in America's Cup compared to many is unparalleled. And Terry, when he had a choice to hire Dean, it was the right call. It is the right call. And his reasoning behind that was, look, he has big boat campaign experience. He has America's Cup experience, and he has foiling yacht experience as well. So he's clearly the right man, and these two have a great history sailing with each other. Now to the bad news. And with all due respect to Dean, and and I'm an American Magic fan, so I respect the heck out of him. But at the end of the day, he's the man in control of putting the boat in the positions that they're in the start. And Jack, that's where things look like they went wrong with American Magic. It was in the starts yesterday, wasn't it?
Boy, we saw a couple of unforced errors. I don't get it. You got to clean that up.
Yeah. When I was sailing in the Cup back in 2000 with America True, we had Chris Dixon come in and coach us. And it was kind of interesting because I thought, as a young sailor, I'm going to really learn something about match racing here. And I showed up to that meeting with a notepad and a pen, and I got ready to learn the intricacies of pre-start match racing from a guy like Chris Dixon. And he gets up and he looks at all of us and he says, the key to winning a match race start is to not get up. You can fill in the blank there. That was it. And I have my pen. I'm still like, really? What he meant was, look, if you're not going to win the start, at least get the bow on the line even, because then you have a shot to at least put your boat in a position to win later on in the race course. American Magic did not do that, unfortunately. So let's take a look at our next video example. This is American Magic and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. This is their entry coming into the pre-start. So Luna Rossa on time, Keko, Bruni, and now watch American Magic. They're on starboard, Jack. So you can see the port boat here is looking to cross. Here comes American Magic. Remember, marginal foiling, barely foiling conditions. Look at the bear away here. Big bear away, holds course, tries to line him up for a penalty. There's the protest, but look what happens. There, they drop off the foils, the stern's in the water. Now the boat goes into a displacement mode. So at the cost, Jack, of trying to get a penalty, which they didn't, by the way, it was green, they dropped off the foils, and the result of that had them basically like a sitting duck. I personally read that move, Jack, as a desperation move. If you go after someone with a low percentage penalty in the pre-start, and an aggressive move nonetheless that is going to risk something bigger like dropping the boat off the foils, to me, that means you're a little bit nervous. And so you're going to try to go for aggressive moves. And really, the cost was worse than the potential benefit. Even if they'd gotten the penalty, dropping off the foils, and they never recovered, by the way, for the rest of the pre-start. I think that was the biggest mistake there. And let's go look at the next video. This is the result of that coming into the start in the match. Jack, tell us, this is coming up to the start.
You can see here's Luna Rossa coming in from the right-hand side. They're on their foils. They're headed towards the line. American Magic is outside the pin end. They're above the line. They are floating, not foiling. As you were saying about going for the penalty, they did much. You want to kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. And believe me, they did much more than just kiss the water. They splashed down there, and they were stuck for a while. They're still, in this shot here, they're still trying to get it back up on the foils.
All right, Jack, I assume everyone else can hear you. We certainly hope so. I can't. So I'm going to guess that what you said was full of intrigue and insight. And whatever you just said, I agree with you. I'm sure. This shot here that you can see on the line, not only was the result of this start having Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli go off in the lead, but have a look at where American Magic is at the gun. They're not even near the line. Yes, and granted, look, I don't know what it takes to drive these boats in these conditions, to be fair. But once the damage was done, you're off the foils. At least get to the line even, and they didn't even do that. So that was pretty difficult there. But let's move on. And again, I got to apologize to our viewers. Look, I'm one of the biggest American Magic fans that are out there, and I'm just calling it like I see it. And I hope I'm wrong, and that these conditions were at fault, and that they turn it around today. So with that said, let's go into the next video. This is the pre-start entry of the second race. Jack, talk us through it.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, this time American Magic has got starboard entry, but they're early. And when they know they're early, and so they turn up to try to avoid coming into the start area early, turn up, drop off the foils, park the boat above the line. And by the way, they did get a penalty for being early to cross the line to enter the side of the box. Again, an unforced error, and I just don't get it. It's really really a surprise to me.
Okay, now let's move to the next shot, which shows the start of that pre-start, or rather the result of that pre-start.
Yeah, I think we need to get up. We need to get to the to the next video where we see with the UK. Here they are. Here, this is the shot that we saw before of them coming in. This is the entry into the box, and we've also got here's the shot.
I don't mean to interrupt. Look at how they're dead in the water there. Okay. So first of all, they got the penalty for entering early. That is an error, unforced error that shouldn't happen. But trying to slow the boat down to not be early took them off the foils. And now again, they're a sitting duck in the pre-start when their opponent is foiling around. And you saw the result, which is coming into the line. The next video, they were pretty much stuck on port, right, Jack?
Yeah, they were. And here we are. Here's Ineos coming in on starboard. They're foiling. American Magic throws in a jibe. They just barely make it over onto starboard. Ineos sails around them. They're parked. Ineos, at speed, heads towards the pin. And now watch this. When they get to the pin, they execute a perfect, staying on their foils in this light air tack, throw in the tack, head off to the right side of the race course, which is where they want it to be, because that's where the pressure has been on this course all the time. Ineos did it about as well as you can in these conditions. American Magic just really struggled in both race starts today. Crazy, just a little bit crazy to me.
Yep, and also, as you well know, Jack, in order to win the start, you have got to, or at least in order to win the race, rather, you've got to at least have an even start. You got to put yourself in a position to win, and that didn't happen. Now, the good news is there is a solution. And every J24 sailor, every Opti sailor, every Sprit boat competitor, every 49er racer, no matter what level you are, knows the answer to this. All they have to do is go back to basics, enter correctly, put the boat on the line even, and then let their talent and the boat speed and the crew work do the talking. Because this is a team, Jack, that knows how to win.
There's a lot of talent on the boat. And again, like I said before, keep it simple. Like you say, get back to the basics, fundamentals. These guys know how to do this. Just do what you know how to do. Let the boat do the work for you and do what you know how to do. Okay,
so our next section, I was excited to go down by Skype to talk to someone who represents the team and knows them intimately down in New Zealand. The past Commodore of the New York Yacht Club, Phil Lotz. He's the New York Yacht Club representative to American Magic. He was the Commodore when they filed their challenge. And now he's down there in person supporting the team. And I had a chance to ask him what his thoughts were on the racing so far. Here we go. I'm going to jump right into it with you and tackle the elephant in the room. Obviously, a very difficult start to the competition. So how is the mood throughout the compound?
Well, it's early days. The mood is still pretty upbeat, obviously. It's no fun not to win the races. The conditions have been pretty challenging. We can point to all the areas where we made the mistakes and what we need to correct. So there's a degree of confidence that once we get through a couple of these issues that we're working on, that we'll be back in the hunt. Problem is, you fall off the foils out there, the distances get big.
Well, it's understandable given the conditions. Certainly not the easiest, and obviously it's on any given day, as they say, things can go up or down. But I want to ask you personally, as a competitive sailor and also as a representative of American Magic, you're down there in person, witnessing these races. I can tell you how we felt, the audience, watching race 1, race 2, and then race 3. What was going through your mind? What were your emotions when you were watching those races and how they unfolded?
So being here, you see it, you feel it. I would probably be maybe a little bit more quite frankly, concerned if I wasn't here and seeing exactly what the conditions look like and what we've gone through and what the decisions, how the decisions were made. But seeing the conditions, seeing the race course, seeing how tight everything is, and knowing that the conditions will be variable over the course of the competition and hopefully normalized or some good racing, that the pendulum can swing back the other way very quickly.
Definitely. And we certainly, I mean, all of us hope it does, and I'm sure it certainly can and hopefully will. Was it frustrating watching those early races?
A little bit, a little bit. Obviously, you like to see it. You like to see more success out of this stuff. But again, just watching the conditions and see what was happening and know what's going through people's minds and seeing what we tried to execute and knowing why it didn't work, it's probably maybe a little less frustrating. When you're on the race course and you're watching from as close as we are, you can see the puffs, and it's like any other watching anybody else race. You like to say, "Oh, get over there, get in that puff, do this, do that," but it's we've all been there. It's hard to connect the dots if you don't have any loss. If the boat's not moving.
And in the starts, obviously that's where it started to unfold with the entry and stuff. Your thoughts as a competitor?
Well, I think learned a lot. I think about what is the priority during the starts in those conditions. What do the penalties really mean? What do you want to do with your competitor? How aggressive you want to be? What's your priority? And I think, for us, probably relearn some lessons about that stuff and, thinking about what our priorities are when we go into the box in those conditions, just exactly what we need to do.
I have a question that I've been wondering in every light air race, and to be fair, these light air races have been challenging, to put it mildly, and in an odd way entertaining to watch because you never know what's going to happen. But considering that the races have been a bit unexpected when it drops below 6 knots, does the team practice in those conditions in displacement mode?
Well, we have. I mean, we've been out there in light air and displacement mode and in those changeable conditions. I think the difference is, very few teams have had the opportunity to race one another in those conditions, and you're start and just exactly try to prioritize what moves you want to make. It's hard to it's hard to practice random puffs. You need a race course and you need another competitor to show you what the wind's like where you're not, so to speak. But it's maneuvering, it's getting up on the foils, it's doing the best you can. And again, choices, swings and roundabouts on the wind conditions, and what we had on board during those races probably sort of stacked the cards a little bit against us.
So looking forward today, breezier conditions, much more favoring the Patriot, and are we going to see a big turnaround hopefully?
Well, that's what we're hoping for. Obviously, we'd like to put a win up on the board. Conditions should be obviously windier, but I got to tell you, it's front coming through, potential thunderstorms. It's the weather is no more predictable today in some respects than it has been the last couple of days. Just the volume could be higher.
Well, we know the guys on American Magic are up to the task. It's exciting to watch sitting back here from home. And, as a sailor, as a New York Yacht Club member, as an American, we really hope you guys pull it off and turn the momentum back around. And when you do, not if, but when you do, we'll be right there cheering you on.
All right. Well, thanks, Tucker. Thanks for all your support, and thanks for all your viewers' support. And we appreciate it. Go Patriot.
You got it. Thank you very much, Commodore Lotz.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Tucker.
Go Patriot is right. It's great to hear from Commodore Lotz directly down in New Zealand. And next, we're going to have a look at Terry Hutchinson, because the poor guy and good friend of mine was in the hot seat in the press conference yesterday. I think he handled it like a pro. Here's a look.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten beaten around enough over the last 25 years of sailing that a couple days, it's going to take a little bit more than that. So Kiko's been spending the last part of 10 years tacking on us, so it's we're used to it. And I think when you look at sitting here, I know when we talk about it amongst the team, it's business as usual. We have to stay committed to our path and stay committed to the process that we race the boat and do those things well. And it swings and roundabouts. For tomorrow's forecast, we've had Chris was talking about a little bit of, the first race could be pretty good. And then there's supposed to be a line of thunderstorms coming through for the timing of that could happen during the second race, depending on, obviously it's the weather, so you take it all with a pinch of salt, which could upset the wind field for the second race. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
You heard Terry mention today's conditions, Jack. It's going to be breezier. That's a good thing for American Magic, right?
Should be. I mean, that should be in their wind range. This is great because we'll have had everything. We had mid-range on the first day. We had super light air yesterday. Today we're going to have gusts up to 20. Super exciting conditions that we should be seeing. I'm really looking forward to seeing this one.
I am too, and I know all the viewers are as well. So here's a look again at the schedule. January 15, 16, and 17, or in our case here, 14, 15, 16. Today wraps up the first weekend of the Prada Cup, first two round robins here in the Challenger Selection Series. Today we will see Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli up against American Magic, and then Luna Rossa Prada up against Ineos Team UK, and then American Magic up against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Of course, the winner of these four round robins goes to the finals. Second and third will then fight it out to see who will go to the finals as well. And then, of course, the winner goes on to the America's Cup match itself. Jack, today's conditions more in favor of American Magic, but also Ineos Team UK, right?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, the thing that's just really cool is that we're going to get to see strong conditions. We'll have big gusts. The sea state should be pretty rough. Ian Murray is setting up on Racecourse A, which is out by Takapuna Beach. He's made it so that he can orient the racehorse as the wind swings into the west from the north. He figures he's going to have to turn the race course, and he didn't want to have to change from one course to another, so he chose to go out to Racecourse A off Takapuna, and that's where we should, actually it's a bit north of Takapuna on Racecourse A, a little bit further north, but should be really good racing. Can't wait to see it.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. And the big question is, how's American Magic going to do? We certainly hope this is going to be their day to put a point on the board, and then many more as this continues on. So day number 3 of the Prada Cup continues tonight. We're really excited about it. It's going to start pretty soon. I'm sure you guys are all too. We hope you've enjoyed another edition of the Cup Experience, broadcasting before each scheduled race day from now through the end of the 36th America's Cup. Join us and share it with your friends. Like and subscribe to the shows on Facebook and YouTube. Send us your questions if you have them, and comments for future shows on Facebook, or direct email for the show, tuckertlive@gmail.com. You can also join our mailing list through that, and join Jack's mailing list and find more AC36 information on cupexperience.com. And thank you once again to the sponsors of the show and to all of you for watching. And Jack, this is our special tradition now. We want to give a toast to all the viewers who are watching, and of course tonight to American Magic. I've got my Mount Gay rum cocktail, and I know you've got your late at night Pellini coffee, right?
You bet. I'm ready for it. Keeping me up. I want to see the races later on in these strong conditions. Cheers.
Here we go. Yeah, cheers. Thank you, everybody. Also, because it's American Magic night, I've got a couple things here. First of all, Mason Sheen's giving me his very own backpack with American Magic on it. I've also got my, grab that, I've also got my American Magic pin on. I've got my American Magic shirt, and even our American Magic flag to wish them good luck. So I think the theme of this show is definitely American Magic Night for this show, number 3 of the Cup Experience. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. We want to wish all of our fans who are supporting American Magic good luck to the team. We certainly hope this is their night. For Jack Griffin and our producer-director, Mason Sheen, I'm Tucker Thompson. Thanks for watching another edition of the Cup Experience.